I don't remember anything from Bob's class.
Oh.
I remember the first time I like stayed at Emily Carr until like it closed was we had to make like a bug or something, and I was at school until 11 o'clock because I didn't have Maya at home, and I didn't have dinner, so I had to split a can of soup with Cheryl and microwave it in the microwave oven, and that was our dinner. Half a can of soup.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, what a sad day. Recording in progress. Okay, so hello. I'm here with Alisha Steinberger, my friend from university. I don't know if I'm pointing in the right place, but I hope I am. Okay, should we do some introductions? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. I am Alisha and I work in 3D animation, currently in games and in VFX movies and series before.
I'm Emily. I am a 2D animator and I have worked on Last Kids on Earth and Dogs in Space, which are both on Netflix right now. We went to art school / Emily Carr together and we studied animation. Alisha, you studied 2D at first, right?
Mm-hmm. And then at the end of third year, I kind of moved more into 3D animation.
I tried taking a 3D course in second year, I think, and then I felt like I can't do this, so I just stayed with 2D. Shall we get started with the first question?
Yeah!
What made you want to get into animation in the first place?
I loved art after watching Disney and Ghibli movies, so I loved, especially when characters inside the movies did art. Like for example, Kiki's Delivery Service, the girl who paints and draws. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do that. And then Jane from Tarzan, she also draws. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do art. And it wasn't until I started watching Shinkai movies, so they're kind of more like anime feature films. When I watched those and when I looked into Makoto Shinkai himself, and I found out he went to university to study animation, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this too. This is like my calling.
Your destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Throughout high school, I always knew I was going to study art. And the thing about the school we went to, Emily Carr, is that the first year you get to explore different options of what you want to do. I was interested in like telling stories, so I was like, I could do illustration or I could do animation, but because I already tried drawing a comic in high school, which was not very good, I was like, I already tried that, so let's try something new. Like the whole point of going to school is that I could learn a new skill, so I chose animation.
I bet your comic was awesome though.
No. Next question. What was your first job in the industry?
My first job was actually junior layout artist at Scanline VFX. So that was before I became an actual animator.
I was a junior harmony animator. I am now a lead animator, which basically means I have slightly more responsibility of checking on my team and stuff. Are you still at Scanline, by the way?
No, actually I'm at Meta and we're doing like VR games for the metaverse.
What is your favorite part of the job?
For me, it's definitely seeing the end result, seeing everything come together, everyone's hard work kind of like merging and creating something awesome.
My answer is kind of similar to yours. I like watching a shot just like be completed. They will upload versions of the episodes we're working on, like it'll be like the animatic, and then it'll be the posing version, and then it'll be animated, and then it'll be effects. And it'll become the last few ones are like sound effects and music, and then like ties everything together so well. And I like watching all of them and being like, whoa, it gets better each time. I like going on the website, our company website, and stalking other people's shots, because sometimes I'll see a really good one. I'm like, oh my god, how did they do that? They'll just like observe their process.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's a great way to learn too. To just like break down and see what other people do, and you can see what you can take from their workflow and stuff.
It's good to steal other people's skills.
It's called heavily inspired.
Next question, what is your least favorite part of the job?
Oh yeah, the time it takes to make animation. It takes so long, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize how long it takes. And I think the grind, like after you get your idea, you're super excited and hyped about it. And then when you start doing it and you're kind of like, when am I going to ever finish this? That's like the worst part, where you're kind of like second guessing yourself and second guessing your skills. Like, can I even, are my skills even good enough for this? Right before you're on the last sprint to like finish it off, right before then, that's kind of the worst part.
I don't like scenes that are super long and scenes that have a lot of character. A lot of characters makes a scene super laggy, and long scenes, I don't know, I feel like you just have to put more work into long scenes. I would rather them be like chopped up into little bits. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's just what I prefer, but I know other people felt differently.
I feel you with the many characters thing. That one really, I get it.
It's like you finish animating one character, you're like, okay, I'm done, and then you looked over, and then there's like more.
Yeah, exactly. And then like sometimes you do it, and it's a background character, and you don't realize it's gonna be covered by something else. And you're like, oh, I spent all this time on this.
It's like I spent time like planting their feet, make sure they're not slipping, and then it's like, oh, they're so far away that doesn't even matter. Next question: what is your favorite thing to animate?
Oh, I like this one. For me, it's definitely animals and creatures, anything that is not necessarily human. I feel like just because humans are, like we see people so often that we have a very high expectation of how people should look like when they're in movies and animation. And so there's a little bit more freedom when it comes to animals. They don't care that much how they move and how they look. So.
Oh, I was watching Corridor Crew on YouTube, and they're talking about how like Gollum from Lord of the Rings and Thanos, the reason they work so well is because they're not strictly human. Like they can get away with like, if things don't look too realistic, it's fine because they're not human.
Totally.
For me, I like doing like acting stuff rather than action. I don't know if that makes sense. Like shots where like characters are just like walking or like running around. I'm not too into that. I like stuff that's like body language and like expression. Okay, next question. I'd like to know what your day as an animator looks like.
I just wrote coffee. I feel like that's kind of half of it. You kind of get the coffee high and you're just like, oh, okay, let's go. I'm just kidding though, but for real, so at work, usually we have meetings, like dailies, twice a week, just to check in. So usually we get tasks distributed to us. We do the tasks, upload them. The supervisor or lead will review them and give notes, and we'll get them back, do the notes and re-upload them with the same process.
My answer is pretty much the same too. Your shots assigned, and then you get like a meeting where you break down the episode and like what they want specifically from each shot. We pose our animation and then we animate our animation, and then we upload that. And then if there are any notes, we have to do revision.
Has your role changed since becoming a lead?
I still do like the same animation stuff, but I also have to do monthly / bi-weekly checkups on the team. I do walk cycles, and then I have to check new builds to make sure they're good for animating.
So in VFX, for example, that means like feature films, like Marvel films.
Have you worked on any Marvel films?
Yeah. So I've worked on Black Widow, Eternals.
Can you tell us what shots you did?
Actually, I could. I mean, I don't know if you want me to do that right now, but
you can send me them later, and I'll like open
okay, sweet.
Okay, next question. Are there any warm-ups you do to get ready for work? I've heard it can be hard on the wrists.
Usually, like I have a bad habit of not doing any, and then after any pains start creeping up, then I start doing exercises and stuff, which isn't necessarily great. So I usually just like shake out my wrists and like stretch them a bit like this and like shake them out. And I also have a standing desk, which is really awesome for back and butt pains.
The animator struggle. I don't really do any warm-ups or cooldowns either, but I do also have a standing desk.
I have to say the back and butt pains are pretty bad.
It's like my chair, it's like it's cushioned, but if you sit in it for too long, the cushion starts flattening, and then you're basically sitting on the hard bottom.
Yeah, everything in the cushion kind of moves apart from your jeez. You can cut that out.
I'm keeping that in.
Oh, gosh.
What are some daily struggles?
Oh my gosh, so many. The biggest struggle for me personally is just waking up in the morning. I'm a total night owl, so getting up early in the mornings is always a bit hard, but also like planning out how long you want to take for a certain task or a shot. If, for example, lead or supervisor asks me how long will it take for you to finish this thing, it's hard for me to like estimate the amount of time. I usually think I can get it done before I do. So I set my time a little bit later, but then I still kind of almost miss it.
Yeah, waking up in the morning, I didn't even think about that. When we were still like going to the office before like quarantine and all that, I would have to get up at a certain time if I want to make the bus. But now that we're working from home and my office is like right beside my bed, it'll be like 8:30, I'm like, I can still stay in bed. Work starts at 9. I can just get up and go to work. Like, it's not a big deal. Deciding on which shot to work on. I always do all the easy ones first so I can get them out of the way. But that means that all the ones that are left are the ones that I don't want to do. So the last month of animation is just me suffering. I'm like,
oh, I have the same exact mentality. I always do the easy things first. Like in my brain, I'm just kind of hoping that eventually I'll get into the groove and I'll want to do it, which never happens.
Okay, next one. What is the most stressful part?
I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but it is very stressful when clients change their mind a lot. You know, it takes a lot of time to change it in animation. It doesn't feel like personal at all. It's just kind of more like, you know, they changed their mind. We just have to keep doing this again. I feel like it's more of a thing in VFX, like in live action movies, where they don't have a storyboard, they don't have an animatic, and they don't stick to anything. You know, they want to make the best thing, so they want to keep iterating, which is a bit painful for the animation side, because that's kind of not how we want to do it. We want to have like a perfect plan and just work on that. Yeah, I think it's not even the VFX house. Like, it's not their choice. It's kind of more like the client. They just think like it's so easy to change.
You're like, oh, let's just send this back to the VFX artist. It's fine. Yeah. For me, the most stressful part is starting a new episode because you get assigned the new shots and they're all like blank. And you're like, there's so many shots I have to do and none of them haven't started yet. Next question, what does career progression look like?
I don't know if it's similar or not to 2D, but in 3D, it's kind of, you start as a junior, you go to mid, then senior. There isn't really a big difference between junior, mid, and senior, just that seniors you expect to have more knowledge and juniors is more like they're on the learning phase. And then you could potentially become a lead like yourself. And then there's also supervisor, making sure that everything is going according to plan with the client and the team. And then there is also VFX soup, like modeling, texturing.
Talking about soup a lot, liquid soup.
Supervisor, I mean, not the soup, not your half can of soup. If they make a restaurant, they have a huge soup menu.
Do you want anim soup or do you want soup? For me, I'm not 100% sure, but it's junior, which means you get like easier shots basically because you're new, you're still learning. And then I suppose at some point you turn into like a non-junior animator, like a normal animator. And then after that, you could get tapped to be the lead animator. And then after that, I think you can get to supervisor, who oversees the team and gives notes on the shots, and then has like a lot of meetings about like how the show is going, etc., etc. And I'm not totally sure what happens after that because I never asked about it, but I'm assuming at some point there's like animation director or art director or something. Okay, next question. What is a fun fact that non-animators may not realize about your work? Animators don't make the whole movie, which I think is something that a lot of people do think. They see like a shot and they're like, oh, you did all of that, right? And like, no, the background and the character design, special effects and comping, that's all someone else. We just do the animation of like the characters and the props.
I think the reason why I thought of this is because when you watch a lot of movie breakdown or like 10 facts, you know, you wish you knew about this movie or something. They always say like, oh, the animators did such a great job on this. And I was like, that's not the animators' responsibility, you know, they had nothing to do with this. Or like, the animators did such a bad job, it looks horrible. It's like, we don't have control over story. Like, I can't improve on the story, I'm sorry.
I was watching this movie that was like, the animation wasn't that great because it was like a small indie movie. And I was looking at reviews for it and people were like, the animation looks fine, but the story's not great. I'm like, the animation does not look fine, what are you talking about? And I think what they were talking about is like the rendering and the lighting looks good, which to them must mean the animation is also good, but no, they're not the same thing. They're different departments. You know, when I tell people like, oh, my friend does lighting, they're like, I don't get it. Do the animators not already have light?
When animators do animation, we have like basic light. I'll open a really quick shot just to explain. So this is how it looks like when we're just in Maya. So it has light and you can see reflection and a bit of shadow, but the shadow isn't really representing where it is because this character is actually on the ground, but it looks like it's floating when you look at the shadow. So the default lighting in Maya is not great. And to make this look like, you know, like WALL-E, this is a whole different level of lighting that you need to put in. So you need to have lights that bounce off the character that show their silhouette, right? You want like rim light, for example, or you want to make sure that the character in the background can be differentiated, and you can see how this has a different mood from this, for example. And that's a lot to do with the lighting, the color of the light, the direction of the light. So you can see how Eva has this rim light around her. That's all the lighters. They all put a bunch of lights in all the best places to make the character shine and to make them look the best possible. It's just something that I could never do. That's all the lighters' responsibility.
Okay, next question. What do you wish animated movies would include more often?
Personally, I really love atmospheric stuff. So like a super awesome design of a like location or the world design, or just being more immersed in the world. Ghibli does such a great job of that. They bring you into a different world and they have these sequences where not much is happening, but you really feel like you're in there. And I think a lot of times newer age of animation, it's a lot more about telling a lot of story really fast. So I feel like they cut out on the slow-paced stuff, which I really enjoyed. And of course, add more animals and creatures. I love them.
For me, I wrote, there wasn't such like a strict divide between animation for kids and animation for adults. I just wish there was more movies that are just like, it's for everyone. Ghibli stuff, even the kid-friendly ones like Kiki, they're not like necessarily for kids, but they definitely are kid-friendly, but anyone can watch it, right?
Yeah, and also like, I think it's a stereotype, can you say stereotype? That animation is always for kids, which I kind of wish was not there.
Yeah, that needs to change.
Yeah, we're gonna have a revolution here.
Okay, we're almost at the end. Do you enjoy working in animation?
Yeah, absolutely. It's my dream. It was my dream since I was in high school, and I'm super happy. I'm super lucky that animation is one of those jobs in arts that you can have a steady like income from. So I'm super blessed. You know, you're just in one department doing one job, and you have other people who are taking care of other things. So it's a lot easier.
Easier to handle, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, you can just worry about like one aspect. Yeah, I know some people might find that like constraining because they want more creative freedom. Like I definitely feel that sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to tell someone else's story. I want to tell my own story. But you know, while I'm working on that front, it's nice to have a job that like supports me.
Totally, yeah, exactly.
That I do also like. Okay, last question. This one's just kind of like a funny one. Do you prefer Flash or Harmony?
Harmony! I've actually never used Flash, so I can't say that I actually had a comparison.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm never touching Flash again. Yeah. So that's all of the questions. Yay! And we also did a collab on Alisha's channel that you can check out in the description box. Or maybe up here. This is where the thing will be. Okay, bye everyone.
Cool, thanks, bye. Thanks for watching.